Welcome to Digital 100. I'm your host Patrick Wagner and this is episode number 8. Today we're going to talk about encryption and whether you need encryption and how it helps secure your data. So let's get started. So why encrypt your data? Let's learn how encrypting our data keeps it safe. So what is encryption and how does it work? I took this from the Trend Micro website. Encryption enhances the security of a message or file by scrambling the content. To encrypt a message, you need the right key, and you need the right key to decrypt it as well. So basically, whatever you encrypt into this file or folder, whatever you encrypt, you need that password or key to unencrypt it. Otherwise, it's absolutely useless. Next, why encrypt your data? I think a lot of people ask this question and don't really come up with a clear answer. So here are the benefits of encrypting your data. Your data is secure at all times. So no one can go in and move files or remove files when you're not looking. And I usually look at this if you're sharing a laptop or you're, sharing a computer even, whether it's home or with your partner. You don't know if a couple pictures get deleted or a file gets changed or some information on a file gets changed. So when you have all your files encrypted, you can guarantee that no one has accessed them, moved them around, added new files, or removed files, as well as looked at your files. So the next one is security from tampering. No one can edit your files or replace them with files that have, viruses in them, or can scan or watch your key coding. The other one, next one we touched upon a little bit, the privacy protection from others. So because your data is encrypted, and in most cases people encrypt all their files, it's safer because nobody can actually see your files. So you don't have to worry about prying eyes. You don't have to worry about government agencies or other organizations. The next big point is compliance. Most big corporations and governmental organizations have very clear and strict compliance that requires this type of encryption. So as this becomes more and more of a standard, I think compliance really just means, hey, if the big guys see a value in this, you should too. So don't ignore it and pretend it doesn't matter. The last benefit is you can do it across multiple devices. So now you can encrypt your cell phone or the contents on your cell phone and decrypt it as well to keep yourself safe. This was a great quote I thought was really important and I thought it was really worth sharing with everybody. And it's by Bruce Schneier, cryptographer, privacy and security specialist. Encryption works best if it's ubiquitous and automatic. It should be enabled for everything by default, not a feature you only turn on when you're doing something you consider worth protecting. And I think this is extremely valuable as a point because I think way too many people spend too much time thinking about ways to be secure only when they're transacting or only when they're dealing with a certain amount of finance or only dealing with certain types of communications. When I think what you should be looking for is setting up these types of layers of security and living within them so you don't actually have to just turn on and turn off. And I think once you start operating that way, life becomes much easier. And I think I'll lean back to one of our last videos on securing your internet access. And the reality is once you apply a VPN to a router, you now have that security built in. You don't have to turn on and off the feature when you need it or when you think you need it, and then have a situation where once you'll forget or something will happen. Once you apply it and it's across the board and it becomes ubiquitous, you don't have to think about it anymore. And that's really kind of the ultimate state we want to get to. Okay, so what are the software encryption options? So today I'm going to cheat and we're going to go into some web pages. So So this one is PC Magazine, Best Encryption Softwares for 2018. So you can see all the options here. One of the main options that has not been listed, and we'll talk about it in the next one, which is the top 5 encryption solutions by another magazine here, Tech Radar. So this one, you can see there's a bunch of options out there. I haven't seen all of these. Certain safe, digital safety deposit box. I like that angle. Folder lock seems to be a very popular one. I'm actually just testing that right now. And then a few of the other options. What you really want to look at when you're buying one of these options is the number of encryption algorithms is helpful, whether they use public key cryptography, important but not overly useful. The rated strength of the passwords is important. Two-factor authentication, interesting but not overly important. To create encrypted storage, very important. So I would take that one. Encrypted files and folders, very important. Encrypting text itself, not as important. The idea of creating a self-decrypting exe, amazing and very useful and very easy, much easier for you to kind of reset and restart if you need to for backups. And then secure deletion of originals, also here. So those are the kind of ones that I would only really look at. But again, do your own research. There's lots of good options here. Let's jump to the other top 5 here by Tech Radar. I'm more familiar with all of these options. So let's see what they had to say here. The first one is Veracrypt. This is the one that I recommend anybody who doesn't want to pay and is just starting an encryption. This is literally your best option. It costs nothing and it's not cloud-based, which is important, so you don't have to worry about a free trial. And I'll actually set up a drive at the end of this video using Veracrypt to show everyone. There's Encrypt. Anything that's cloud-based, I don't like it and I won't touch it. So don't use the cloud-based option if it's there. Folder lock seems to be a very good paid subscription, or sorry, paid model. I'm actually going to be testing that in a future video. If you guys have any other recommendations that you want tested, Crypto Expert looks like another option. Number 4 and number 5 is Certain Safe. So take a look at these options. See which ones best suit you. As far as getting started, the best cheap free option is Veracrypt. They've done some great updates to their software over the last few years as well. So as a getting starting point, I think it's probably your best bet. This is folder lock. They're $39 for their feature, but the one benefit of the folder lock is you can encrypt your mobile phone and use it on your mobile device. Just as a heads up, Veracrypt had some issues back in 2016 that they dealt with. And I think it's always important to do reviews and just go to Google and type review and whatever the software is you're downloading. That way you can really see what people are saying and what's actually happening out there with the software. So always do that. Google the software, check it out. Don't get caught guessing or hoping this is the best software. Look at what people are complaining about on those reviews. Installing Veracrypt and simple setup of an encrypted drive. So I'm going to go through how we can set up our own encrypted drive here. We're going to get onto the desktop, go to veracrypt.fr. It's a French website. Download Veracrypt, get started. We're going to create a volume. You have 3 options here. You can create an encrypted file container, which is what average people normally create. You can partition sections of a drive or create an entire USB drive, or you can make your entire drive encrypted as well. There's benefits to all of them. You can figure out what the reasoning is behind all of them as well. The bigger you go though, the longer it takes to decrypt each time. So if you encrypted an entire 2 GB drive and had to decrypt it every time you started Windows, you would have a good period of time that you'd have to wait before you could use your computer. So keep that in mind. Next is the different volume types. Here we have a standard volume type, which is what most people will use, and there's also a hidden type. This hidden type allows you to create a section or a volume container that is not exposed to the standard person being able to see the file name. So because we're doing this, we actually create a file name. So I had one there before. We're going to create another one called test2. Here you choose your encryption options. There's many of them. Do your own research, figure out which one works best for you. On average, what you want to know here is the higher encryption you choose, the more secure your information is from, let's say, a system hacking through to find it. But the reality is it also takes you longer to encrypt and decrypt. So make sure, you figure out your reasons why to go so high on your algorithm strength. I usually keep it pretty standard because the reality is I'm just trying to keep malware and computer spy softwares out of my information. So let's do a quick 5, let's do 3 gigabytes. Let's choose the password. I'm gonna actually show you guys the password. I want to be encrypted. Question 99. So I want to be encrypted. 99. Now, make sure you write this down. If you don't write this down, I guarantee you will forget. And if you forget, this is a lost drive. I mean, the good thing is you encrypt it right now, and then you have the option obviously to open it and put files into the container. And the reality is if you don't do that properly, then it doesn't matter. Losing it after that is really the problem. So it's going to format this volume now. It asks you to move your cursor around and it creates random numbers using your mouse in order to format the volume. Once you're in green, you should be good, but you can keep going. There we go. Volume has been created and we're done. So now let's open that volume up. First you select a drive where you want that file to go. Then we select the file itself. Then we click mount and we type in that password. Now let's see if we remembered it properly. I want to be encrypted. Question 99. Now again, depending on the size of this container, it may take some time for your computer to decrypt it. And there we go. And now we're good to go. And at this point, basically you end up showing up as another drive. And you can put any of your new folders in here. And then in there, you can also then start putting some documents. Even though I would not put passwords, but let's just put that in. And that's it. Now you can go to Veracrypt when you're done, dismount all, and it closes those drives and they're gone. And all you have left is this right here. So all of the contents are there. And that's basically how to set up a simple Veracrypt and get yourself started. I would start by putting some files in there, try the files, put something in there, organize yourself, close the folder, open up the next day or later in the day, try it again, get used to that. Once you get used to it, it'll be much easier for you to pile in all your documents and actually start to use it as your safe container. The most important stuff that really helps is by putting everything into that one container. Your desktop and your computer becomes much cleaner, and any malware and software that's designed to log or see where your files are, usually it goes to the same directories or scans the computer. When your files are encrypted, there's nothing to scan and those files don't come up with very much. So you're limiting the attack surface area for those types of softwares. So that's why it's so important to do this. Get started today. I'm not a big proponent of always using free software. So I'll put that caveat in there. Do your own research on this stuff as well. Veracrypt is a great starting point, and I think everyone should always at least have some sort of encryption on their system. So start with something free. Lots of these have free trials. Otherwise, go for some paid options. Do your research. Go to Google, type the software name and just the term reviews, and see what people are saying. See if there's any articles written to make you aware of bugs or issues, and get started today. Make sure you add this element of security to your system. That way you have all your files encrypted and separate. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.